Hi, everybody. Welcome to Life School 101 TV. I am grateful to be here with you for another segment. And today I have a fabulous guest with me, someone who is very near and dear to my heart. She's a sister, she's a teacher, she's an author, she is a catalyst of change, she's a firewalk facilitator, she's a warrior goddess facilitator, and so much more. And I'm going to let her tell you about this. But today we're going to have a fascinating conversation about surrendering and letting go and letting be. And so I'm excited to bring Kerri Hummingbird to the show. Hi, Kerri.
Hi, Mary. Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's so good to see you here in this format, as I've seen you in so many other ways, in class and together in community and growing together for I don't know how many years now, at least like 5 or 6. And it's such a delight to be your friend and to come here with this program right here. So what am I? I'm a messy human who's on a journey through life and learning along the way. And my title, I guess, is Soul Guide. It's a fun title. I like it. It indicates that journey that we take, that mystical, fantastical, mysterious, confusing, enlightening journey through life. We get to play and have fun and create and tell a lot of good stories. So let's tell some good stories today, entertain people.
I agree. And something for the audience, so you understand a little bit about Kerri and I and our connection, is we had a great opportunity and privilege of meeting in a community called the Toltec community, which was brought together by HeatherAsh Amara with support with Don Miguel Ruiz and the Ruiz family and many other Toltec people who were teachers. And her and I met in a program called 13 Moons, which all these years later is now called Warrior Goddess Training, and it's a series of, oh my gosh, like 4 books now that are all bestsellers. And so this work is available to you. And Kerri and I also became some of the first teachers that HeatherAsh taught to teach this program, because we've been in it for so long, and it's been a fundamental part of, for me, it's been a huge part of my transformation, is really coming to truth with who this is and learning to fall in love with who this is, as I am, as I choose to be, as I want to be, not based on my conditioning or my experiences or my tragedies, but redefining myself every day. And so, you know, and Kerri is a master in teaching this. So Kerri, let's kick this off. I just want you to start. That's it.
Well, you know, what's on my mind right now is how long I've known you for and what good friends we are. And I think a good component of a friendship is honesty and the willingness to not be perfect, because that creates depth. You know, when you're not holding your image of perfection in front of you, like, hi, I'm back here somewhere. You get to meet my emissary, but you don't get to actually meet me, because I'm messy and I don't want you to know all those things about me. We kind of did it the other way. I mean, the day that we met, the day before we met, I was at a low point and I wanted to just end it. Like, I was like, get me off this planet. Like, this isn't working. I feel like a failure as a parent. I feel like a failure as a wife, a failure as a person. I mean, I just was at such a low point and I wanted to end it. I just couldn't figure out how. So I ended up in class the next day and I met you and I met HeatherAsh Amara as my teacher, and it was such kismet, the timing of it. But that's the point that I met you. And so, there's really no hiding after that. There's no need to pretend. And it takes a lot less energy to be truthful like that. But so many people expend all this energy trying to be anything other than what they are in the moment, and then trying to project that image of perfection out there. And we're seeing we're seeing now in our world the collapse of the illusion, the collapse of all the illusions. We're seeing the messy underbelly, the dark, twisted underbelly that exists right alongside the light and the things we love about ourselves, the things that we put out there and we say, yes, this is me, I own this. And we're also seeing all the stuff that we're going, oh, I didn't really want you to know that about me. This thing over here is awful. So we're seeing all of it now, and we're being called, I think, to step out of this paradigm of I'm good if I'm only this, and I'm bad if I'm even just a little bit of this bad stuff. Bad, then I'm just not a good person. So what makes a good person? I think that's what makes a good person, what makes a good life. Are we redefining that now, Mary?
Well, I think so. And I think that that's where choice comes in. And I see, society's gotten really funky, especially in the last 3 or 4 years with politics coming to such a head. And not that it wasn't ever a popular topic, but with the internet and social media, it's become the hot topic, and it's people arguing and fighting back and forth. And technology has created that opportunity where we have full conversations. And I know that when I'm going to post something, it is up for criticism. It is up for judgment. And how we deal with that is different. The other thing is we're being conditioned in fear, conditioned in belief, conditioned in the news, conditioned in one side or the other. If you believe this, you're not right. If you believe this, you're not that. That's confusing. And the truth is, and HeatherAsh talks about this, and this is what we teach, is that, within that, you have the right as an individual to make decisions not based on the popular thought at the moment. You have the opportunity to like some of this and like some of that and work in between those lines. And so how do we, in our individual lives, how do we maneuver these things that are happening, because it's intense? And today, I think that's really where we're going with this, is how do you let go? How do you surrender? How do you be a part of life in a different way when all this stuff is going on over here?
That is a really good question, and that is something that people are facing, because I think that I know that we've been domesticated to conform. Everything about our upbringing is around conforming with the group mentality, going along with, so that you can get acceptance and love and be included in that group mentality. And what's happening now is so many fractures along so many lines that where do you conform to get love? And I think it's intentional, because ultimately there's only one true source of love and acceptance, and that's within yourself. That is that place, that center within your being. It doesn't come from outside. It comes from inside. And we've all got to learn now how to tap into that inner knowing that you came here to see, because your inner knowing is going to be different than everybody else's inner knowing, because we're all unique. We're all unique and special. We all have an innate design. And that's, I think, what we're starting to learn now about each other, which is so confusing, because we're trained to think that there's one right way and everybody knows it. And now we're seeing, no, that's not true, actually. There's many, many, many flavors. There's probably 8 billion different right ways, because there's how many people are on the planet.
Yeah. Well, and there's number one conflict in most relationships and situations is that right there. That is not, well, your belief is different than my belief, and I am bigger and stronger than you, and I believe that I'm smarter, and so therefore I'm right and you're wrong. And there's nothing else we can do about this. At such a basic level place to play. And yes, there is right and wrong. But in the right category, there's a lot of shades of right. And I think it's really important that we understand that. Kerri and I have a fantastic opportunity. We get to really be there when life is happening. She's one of my people that I can call and say, I'm not okay. And we've done that for each other. We've passed that baton back and forth, and it's such an honor to hold Kerri in her grief. It is an honor to hold her in her anger and her sadness and not absorb it, but be with her with it, to not be afraid of it, to see her as her truth, because I have it in me too. We all have it. Yeah, Kerri, let's talk about masks. Let's talk about why we cover that up, because everyone does it. You know, let's call the BS where it is. Everybody covers their stuff and puts on the shiny smile and goes, I'm okay.
Well, you know, we live in a dopamine society. We live in a society that the domestication is dopamine, excitement, happiness, you know, good times. We don't want anything uncomfortable. If it's uncomfortable, that equals bad. You know, we live in a dopamine society. And that is one of the reasons why we have the highest usage of pharmaceuticals in the world. We manufacture them and we consume them. I think we consume 80% of the world's pharmaceuticals in the United States. That's insane to me. And it's because we are uncomfortable being uncomfortable. And so make anything to make the pain go away. But, you know, what a lot of the world knows, or maybe just doesn't have the resources to avoid, is that pain is a great teacher. And it is that signal that your body, your higher self, your soul, whatever you want to call that, is sending you to say, hey, something's not working here. Something's not right. Hey, 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 pay attention. And when we get that signal, we go, oh, that's bad. Make that stop. Make that go away. How can I do that in 15 minutes or less? And so we've designed a whole medical system to do that for us in 15 minutes or less. It's framed that way. You go to the doctor, in 15 minutes, you get a pill to make it stop, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But it doesn't solve the problem. It doesn't, not only does it not solve the problem, it covers it up. It prolongs the suffering. Mm-hmm. Because anything, like we talked about the image of perfection, when you're trying to hold that up there, that takes energy. And then the more difficult it gets behind that mask, that takes even more energy, because you're trying to ignore that and cover that up, you know, and now you're putting chemicals in your body to ignore that and push it down. And so now your body's struggling even more. What's the alternative? The alternative is to face it, to listen to it, to listen to the pain, to listen to the discomfort, to slow down, to cry if you need to cry. You know, to look at the hard things. There's a lot to cry about right now in the world. There's a lot of things that make me want to cry.
Yeah.
You know, and that moment of facing it and digging deep into that uncomfortable territory, you can come up with a beautiful realization, or you could feel an inner motivation to make a difference in the world. And isn't that a blessing? So, you know, looking at the pain can actually fuel something positive and beautiful on the other side.
Oh, it's so true. It's amazing when we look at our life as from a whole perspective, instead of, well, this was all really good and this is crappy and we're just going to pretend this didn't happen and we're just going to focus on this stuff. But to be able to come to a place of, okay, yeah, that was great, and then this happened. Wow, that really changed me. how did it change me? How did I react? How am I different now than I was then? Did I lose a part of myself that I wish I had back? Did I lose something that I loved? Did I push people away? Did I pull people in? Really taking the time to look at the situation and allow those pieces to heal. Allow those parts, because what happens, and I think the best analogy, I love this one, I do this in class all the time. Take a pitcher of water and you start pouring dirt in it, and the dirt, and you put rocks in it, it gets full of shit. You start pouring water in, you start bringing truth, you start being present with it, and it starts to overflow, and the dirt flows out, and you're a clean vessel again. And I think that's one of the biggest things that Kerri and I both, is as teachers and practitioners and working with people one-on-one going through difficult times, is that you have that choice. That's the biggest tool that there is in the toolbox. It's about choice. It's about going, okay, this is what's happening for real. And I have the air conditioner on, and I have a roof over my head, and I have food in my belly, and I have all these opportunities. And yes, this makes me sad. Absolutely. I'm going to allow myself and love myself through that. And I have this whole life that I am in control of. Where do I need to take greater control? And
where do I need to surrender?
Yeah.
Surrendering is a choice. I think that the interesting thing about that analogy, I use that all the time with with the muddy glass, and the mud being all the things that you ignored, that you didn't want to look at for all that time, that you just took a pill instead of looking at that. Just make the pain go away. And it's just growing and growing and growing in your glass. And at some point you realize, oh, that doesn't actually work. I'm not really getting rid of it by taking the pill. And you start pouring the water in. You come to a place where you need to do something radically different. And you open, right? You get an opening, and then a teacher appears, right? And the student's ready. The teacher appears, and you start pouring that water in. And the teacher's pouring the water in for you and helping you out. And it starts to get icky. And people are like, well, I'm supposed to feel better from this process, not worse. How come it feels worse? I don't want that. Well, think about it. When the water gets poured in and the mud starts to loosen, it glogs up. And it's like, and it starts to come out, and it's nasty because you become aware of it. And on its way out, it says, hey, friend, I wanted you to know that I've been caked in your being for about a dozen years or more. And it's kind of nasty down there. So I just wanted to say hello on the way out and let you know why I was there. And it's kind of like this it's a necessary, nasty part of the process. But once it's out, it's out. And, and don't you want to know why it was there, so that you cannot make that same choice again? You can make a different choice?
Yeah, absolutely. Emotional constipation. We hold it in, we hold it in, we hold it in, we hold it in, we hold it in. The juice is of self-love. I'm sorry, folks, we're not trying to go there. I swear. But the truth is that when you're emotionally having to hold yourself so tight that you're afraid you're going to fall apart, and you let little bits leak out when no one's watching, or in the car, somebody cuts you off in traffic, and wow, boom, that guy's going to get it, because, you're holding it back. The difference between when you let go is that you're not holding back anymore. You're not holding all this stuff. You're not covered in junk. You're letting it go all the time. You're learning to value and honor yourself even when life isn't so jolly or so great. Let's speak on that a little bit. Let's talk about, transmuting energy and how you take that, from the honesty piece and use that into something that you can digest and move forward with.
Absolutely. There's this point where you've got to release it. You've got to purge that energy. And one of the best purges is crying, That's just a great purge for energy. And, you know, exercise and sweating it out is another way of purging all that energy and letting it go, releasing it. In our class, we learned how to roar like a lion. That's a fun way to let go of energy. It's amazing how much energy comes out. It's like a volcano of like energy. It's like, roar.
Let's do this one let's just do this one for a moment. Because I love this one. Everyone has to roar. All right. I'm sorry, folks, but try it. I'm telling you, you're gonna feel better. All right, let's get them started.
Okay. Are we gonna turn off our microphones while we do that?
No. We're all gonna roar really loud. We're gonna own it.
Okay, we're gonna own it. Okay, so here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Ooh, let energy move in. Woo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it kind of like opens up this channel like in your being, and it releases pent up energy.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people are afraid of anger, but anger is just like fire energy that got like squashed and not been able to get liberated. So at the same time, as I say, it's so great to release energy in this way, like releasing the emotion in a safe way. It's not directing it at anybody. Please don't direct it at people. You know, I heard this story from a client, and she said, oh, my mother-in-law was telling me that my husband, that boss he has, he's not getting along with it, he should put his picture on a punching bag and just like punch it. I said, that's psychic attack. Please don't do that. You know, that is not okay ever. You know, it's much more appropriate to just realize that you're the person who got triggered. You're the person that has the anger. That means it's your hot potato. It doesn't belong to anybody else. It belongs to you. And just maybe release that with some running or stomp some cans or roar like a lion or, you know, bury it in the earth, whatever you want to do. But directing it at another person, I don't think is okay. You know, and because here's the thing, you're going to regret that. Once you're clear of the energy, your perception shifts and changes. That's the amazing thing about the power of emotional energy, is it can really influence your perception of things. And so releasing the energy without feeding the story, you know, so we don't want to give it more fuel. Like we don't want to be releasing the energy. It's sort of like if you had a nice little fire going and it was releasing, and then you dumped a whole truck of diesel fuel on it, then it's going to explode, right? So we're not talking about feeding the story or feeding the energy. We're talking about allowing it to naturally flow through you and release. Surrender to letting that flow happen. And I think a lot of people are experiencing that right now. As more light comes in, then things that are long forgotten and shadowy and yucky from the base of your being are bubbling up because they no longer fit your new paradigm. And on their way out, they feel horrible. So witness it, surrender, let it come out. It doesn't mean that you've regressed. It just means there's something there for you to witness that was there before that you never looked at. And just release it with consciousness and let it go. And as it passes, you'll feel a lot better.
Thank you, Kerri. I'm so glad that you came on the show today and that you were here to share. And that was way too short. You're definitely going to have to come back on Life School 101 TV. Linda is so delighted that you came to do this interview, and I'm sorry she couldn't be with us here today, but she definitely sends her thank yous and just her gratitude, you know, deep gratitude, sweetie. And so I hope that you'll come back. So go ahead and let everybody know how they can reach you and give us a little message of love as you go out.
Absolutely. So what I teach is how to reinvent yourself. And I combine practices that I've learned from several different spiritual teachers and lineages. And it includes healing, meditations, and shift work, because I am trained as a healer. And it also includes empowerment, because we're not here to create dependencies. We're here to liberate people to live and stand in their sovereignty. So Reinvent Yourself is the program I teach. You can get a free download about that at my website, KerriHummingbird.com. That's Kerri, hummingbird.com/gift. So once again, that's KerriHummingbird.com/gift, and you can get that. And if you or someone you know is struggling with something heavy and diagnosis and pills and that kind of challenge, I invite you to visit the Skills Not Pills movement website and check out all the experts that we have there forming community together to help people transition into wellness. And that's skillsnotpillsmovement.com.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kerri. And thank
you.
And thank you, everybody, for watching out there. We appreciate your participation and your shares. And we love doing this show. We love doing Life School 101 TV. And so if you have a topic or you have something that you would like us to talk about, feel free to send us an email, and you can find us on our website at lifeschool101.tv, and you can also find us on Facebook. And we've got all of our shows on YouTube, so if you are not a CATV Channel 810 subscriber, then you can also find them on YouTube and on Facebook. And a big loving thank you to CATV 8 Channel 10 for giving us the opportunity to do this show and do what we love. Thank you. All right, bye-bye, everybody. We'll see you next time. Mwah. Bye.
My little girl, well, she means everything to me. She can lift me up, take me down. She can see inside of me, and I'm all rolled up inside her little arms tonight. There's no other place I'd